pecs in the front here, the back, the upper back area, and the arms. So therefore, expanding the axiotonal and meridian capacity as well as the muscle capacity in the entire upper part. Now, what we do with them is each movement gets 12 repetitions. You're going to have it easy this morning and while you're here because there's not enough weight sets to go around. So we'll just do the movements together. Now, for some people, if you have physical injury or limitations or something, it is good to check with your doctor before you do any kind of weight work or anything like that to make sure it's okay with with your medical doctor person. For most people, especially even just doing the movements first, they will begin to loosen up the areas. Now, for people who are fit on top already, a bit where you've got strong arms, that kind of thing, these will be very easy for you, just doing the movements. And the idea is when you get home, once you get the movements kind of coded into the body, and that's why we're doing them here, is to actually help the body consciousness remember how that is. Because you see 2 little pictures on your page right now, and we didn't have time to do it will be like several hundred pages probably to put the words to all of these exercises when you get the whole pack done. There wasn't time to do that before here. So the start and the action positions are just meant to help you, remember, oh yeah, that one I hold weights this way and do that, or whatever it is, right? You'll find when you get home, please keep these, because as far as if you want to work the program, they're without them, I would never ever remember what I was supposed to be doing. When I was doing these every day, and there was a time when I was doing this whole set of the top, the middle, and the bottom every single day, plus cardio. That's when I kind of shrunk down to like 110 pounds and stuff. Even then, I couldn't remember all of them for every set, every part of the body. So it's just worth having the cheat sheet there, stick it in a sheet protector or something so it's there, and just take it with you. I even reduced them smaller where they look like hieroglyphics, right? Where you just see a little bit of, once your mind gets used to seeing, oh, that body position means that, right? You can reduce each of those sheets down and stick them on one, so you just have one cheat sheet kind of thing. So we didn't do that because you wouldn't be able to see really what they look like, because they really do look like little stick figures you see carved in pyramid, language. But if you know what that language means, right, you know what it is, and it's even, you don't have to take 4 sheets with you, you take 1, you know what I mean? But for now, we'll begin with these. You'll also get one of these sheets for each of the other body areas. And the exercises are not difficult. They're quite standard weight training for the upper body parts. They can be used for guys and gals. We all have muscles. For all of us, the point is to use a weight that is heavy enough that you can do, say, the first 8 reps comfortably, but then you start feeling the fatigue and the tiring in the muscles. You don't want to do it to the point where you start with a 10-pounder and you haven't done any weights at all, and you start lifting and you start hurting, because then you'll start popping muscles and pulling them, and that will just set you back, because you'll have to wait 2.5, 3 weeks to try it again if you pull a muscle. So you start with a weight that's comfortable, but a little bit, by the time you get to the last 4 reps, you start to feel the tension on it. You start to feel, okay, ouch, yeah. And the idea with these is, when I first started, if I had to do, the idea is to do 12 reps in a row, and a rep is how many times you do that same action, right? If you get to a point where you got 4 of them done and you're starting to feel the fatigue already, you can do 2 things. 1, you can decide to use a lighter weight for a while, or 2, you can say, okay, and just kind of come into a resting position, breathe a couple times, and then go back into the rep set, right, until you finish your 12. So I would, at times, for certain ones, I could say, oh, I guess I have weak muscles there, because I could get through 12 reps with no problem on one type of exercise. But then I'd switch to the next one, and I would find that, I hit 6, and now my arms are shaking on this one. So I would find my weak spots. And with the weak spots, again, you have 2 choices. You can either decide to use a smaller weight, or you can decide to just literally take the tension off whatever area is being worked, like, just like hold the weights this way or something, and breathe a little bit until you have you give a little bit of breathing space for the muscles, and then go back into the next couple of reps and do it again if you have to, until you can get 12 reps smoothly for each exercise all the way through. Now, you'll find, even though the exercises are not heavily difficult if you use an appropriate size weight, you will find they're surprisingly challenging to do the entire program, because you go through, like, all right, this is, like, say 1A, and you do that, and you do 12 of those. Then you, ideally, without a break, you go to 1B and do all those 12 reps. Then you'd go to 2A and do all of those. So you literally do it as a continual series of motion. That's what you're aiming for. When you first start, you may not be able to do that. You may need to take breaks not only between reps, and the rep is how many times you do the same movement, but also between sets of movements, like between 1A and 1B. You give yourself the time to have those, to let the muscles recover, because what you don't want to do is over-push them. And over-push is funny. You can over-push one day and not realize you actually did it, especially when you first start, because when you first start, you feel like, wow, oh, this is easy. Yeah, no problem. The next day, you're like, rigor mortis, oh my God, why does this hurt now? And the day after that, you might be like, oh boy, it's not getting better, it's getting worse. The body will produce lactic acid in the muscles, and it might be easy the first time, and then especially if you go through it the next day and you're stiff, and then you go through it again, right? This is why we try to give a day break in between. If you're working the top one day, it won't be a top day the next day for your exercise thing if you're doing every day of some sort of activity. So you give the muscles time to recuperate. Also, drinking a lot, just drink a lot of water and keep your system very hydrated before, during, and after will help to flush the lactic acid from the muscles, so you'll get less pain. And I will tell you, if you're not used to doing it, you will find a new definition of what is pain and what is just discomfort that means my muscles are growing, right? There is a difference between the two. Pain, you know it. You popped or pulled something, and there's a whole different level of intensity. But when you first start there, with anything involving the weights, and also the ones that don't use weights, but you're doing ab work and those kind of things, you will find, particularly the next day and the day after, the stiffness, and there's an achiness to it. That's normal. Stretching a bit before and after helps that, before and after whatever muscle groups you're working. So for the top half, we're going to do a couple of the arrayas that we used that were just stretching, that we did with the Logayanas. We're going to use just, and you don't have to use any particular ones. The idea is to stretch out the muscles you're going to use first. So for this set that's involving the arms and the upper body, we're going to do the one, remember we put the arms over the head like this, right? And just stretch to one side and hold. And feel the pull all the way down the side of your body, and on the opposite side to where you're bending. And then come back up and do the same on the other side. Yeah, you don't have to do any reps or counts on this. Just pull and hold. Okay. Another one that we've done is this one, where you clasp the hands behind your back and inhale, and then exhale into the push, and push them up as far as you comfortably can. All right, this will loosen up the muscles to begin the weight work. And down. All right. The other one that is really good is where you stick one arm out and put the other one this way, right? And then pull and hold. And then do it on the other side. And a really good one is the one we use in one of the logo postures that I still can't do yet. I have to do this one at least every second day to keep it there. But it's the one where, I used a sock last time. You can use a strap or a stretchy sock or whatever. But the one where you do this. Oh, I did it. Look at that. I reached it. Right. Where you can grasp behind like that. If you can't, you just simply get a small belt or a strap or a sock and hold one end with each hand to the degree that you can, and then slowly inch your fingers up and down until eventually you'll pull, get the muscles flexible enough to stretch. Then you do it on the opposite side, which might be my bad side. I don't know yet. Yep, that's the one I can't reach. That one. There we go. I did it. Yeah, it's always good, too. You say, wow, I did it today. He's like, good job, Jari. Right? Good job. Keep going. Right. And then just simple, without whacking your neighbor. right? Just to loosen them up now that you stretched them out. And simple arm circles. The idea with the stretches before and after is wherever it feels like it's tight or might be tight, you want to stretch that part out. So some days you feel, I don't feel tight here, but I want to do, this one. And you also find that your body is inventive, where it'll invent stretches, right, for you, where it's like, that still feels twitchy. That still tight. And you're kind of, okay, how would I untighten that, right? So you find yourself like contorting and doing strange things with yourself just to pull stuff out. Learn to listen to your body with that. It'll actually give you ways to, get kinks out where, where energy is being held and stuck and making stiffness to the muscles. I'm going to turn this off for a second because I have to cough. Excuse me. I'm back. Excuse me. Alrighty. Now these little guys, I call them the wimpy weights. My wimpy weights. I started out with my wimpy weights. They're only 5-pounders. Okay? These are the type of things you need to get part of your home gym setup. They're great though. They're not electronic. If electricity someday decides not to be on the planet anymore, they still work as long as you do, right? I've got both at home, a set of 5 pounds and a set of 8-pound ones, because that's the limit that I work within. I only used the 5-pound ones when I was first training and had never ever done anything before, and I was surprised at how wimpy my arm muscles actually were. The 8-pound for my size worked well. I could probably do the whole sets with breaks in between each exercise with 12-pound ones. If you're a girl, you can build up the muscle that way, and there's been an argument in science as far as, you start looking like, one of those, guy, basically. You're going to start looking like a guy if you're a girl, and you do, say, I progress from 8 pounds, I want to do 12, and I progress from 12, and I want to do 15 because I'm getting strong, right? That used to be that the more weight you use, the greater muscle bulk you will build. That is still true, but as a female, you don't have the same amount of testosterone in the body chemicals, so you actually won't build muscles as large as a male would, but you will still bulk up female-wise. So if you don't want to bulk up and you still want the skinny little effect, but nice tone little skinny little effect of girly arms like some people like, you would want to do, it's more reps with less weight, right? So 8 pounds. I found that when I did the 8-pound ones and I was doing the exercises every day, I scared myself once. I was sitting someplace and I just caught my reflection in a shirt like this in the mirror. And I went, man arm, right? And it's like, cool, it looks nice. Some women really like, the Iron Woman shape and that kind of stuff. I wasn't really looking for Iron Woman shape. So it's okay, we're not going to increase the weight anymore. That's good for us. So you got to find your own range with that. A perfectly tailored arm muscle set on a girl or a guy looks nice. But overdone doesn't look good. And the reason it doesn't look good is because when they do what they call complete rip, where you've ripped your muscles and they're really not nice and puffed up as far as you can get them now, that actually stresses out the acciatonal meridian lines. So it's better to aim for a step just before that. You don't need those bodybuilders where it's fascinating to see what the human form can do when you puff out its acciatonal meridian lines and its muscles join the game. I mean, there's contests to see who can do that the best in this world and that kind of thing. If people are into that, we don't have anything against it, but we do recommend just a step back from that, even if you want to go fitness crazy. Nice, lean tone is great, but overextending to the point where, next time I do more weight, more muscle, find a balance with your Jari and say, look, I don't have to be Mr. or Mrs. Universe here unless you're going into the competitions, then that will be expected of you, but why compete that way anyway, is my opinion. So there's a happy medium to reach. Now, with men using these exercises, you have the same type of muscles as the girls do. So these exercises will work those same muscles for the guys, but you'll probably need to start with quite a bit heavier weights. 5 pounds will be nothing. You won't even feel like you have anything in your hands. Probably even 15 pounds might be light for most guys. So you got to find that place where if you do pick any one of them and do 12 reps, and the weight is good as when you hit the 8th rep, where you have 4 more to go, that's when you start feeling fatigue in your muscle, right? That's also the point where anybody who's going to, if you start with a 5-pound weight, when do you switch up to, say, an 8 or something, or when do you switch up to the next level? It's when you can go through all of those 12, and you don't feel any fatigue at all. You can get to the 12th one and it's still as easy as the first one was. You've already, your body's actually ready for the next level. Now, that's if you're using just one exercise. What I do, as far as I wouldn't move up on the weights until, like, the level of weight you're going to use, until you can actually get through the entire set that's on this paper without a break all the way through, without a need to rest. All right? So in the meantime, you can use, I still use the 8-pound weights that I got used to, because it still fatigues where sometimes I have to say, okay, before I start that next one, I'm just going to shake my arms out a bit and breathe and then go into it. So if you need muscle recovery in between reps or in between sets, or the different exercises, it's still doing stuff for your muscles, so you don't have to upgrade the heaviness there. All right? So you can judge your own weight. We're not going to tell you have to go do this much weight or that much weight. You can even do these, especially if you have an injury or you're recovering from an injury or something like that. Just start with the movements without any weight at all, and work with, if you have a physical doctor that's helping you with a condition, work with what the doctor recommends. You might want to start with 2-pound weights if you're doing a recovery, say from something like a spinal injury or an arm injury or something like that. So you need to trust your body and respect it with that. You don't push it past what is sensibly good for it right now. And if you are under medical treatment for a condition, you definitely need to consult your doctor about what is okay so you don't make your condition worse. You're trying to make it better, but you accidentally made it worse because you used too much weight or something. So, now that we've got that said, the way I will do this is I will show you the starting and then the action. Now, there's only most of these have only 2 photos on them. It's meant to remind you where, all right, you start in that position, and then it goes there, right? There's, with the weights for the upper body especially, trying to pay attention to form is quite important, because if your form is off, and form means how you're holding your body while you're doing the specific exercise. If your form is off, you will not be actually targeting the muscles that exercise is meant to target. You'll be targeting other stuff, and you can pull things more easily that way and things. Now, when I work out with the arm set, I do it with a mirror in front of me, because some of them, like you'll be able to tell if I don't have it in perfect form, because you'll see me. I can't see me when I'm trying to go, okay, are my arms completely even, right? When they're supposed to be like this. But if you look in the mirror, you can tell if your arms are at a straight line to your body, where it's a bit hard, even when you've been doing them for a while, to tell if you're exactly in good form for that exercise, right? So doing it in front of a mirror so you can see what your form is doing, see what your back is doing, because with a lot of these, it's not meant to be done like, right? No. You're supposed to have that kind of basic posture, not rigid, and usually have a little bit of bend to the knee, and your shoulders back gently. And when you bend, if it's a bend over one that you have to do arm stuff, but with your body bent, you pay attention. You don't just bend like in an arch, like in a hump, like that. You bend and try to keep a straight back, right, where you keep form. And that allows the torso as well, what's called the core muscles in the torso, they also become part of the party. So it's not just your arms that you're working out, but it also, when the torso becomes part of the party, it allows you to get the body in the right position to move the arm weights where they need to go. So you can work on form when you go home. This one is just to get you through what these look like. Eventually we're gonna do a DVD or something. So we could do it together, on the DVD kind of thing. But we didn't have time to do that yet either. They surprised us with having to have these ready for this program, by the way. So the first one is, can you hold this for me, honey, so I don't have to keep bending down and making funny mic noises? Thank you. All right. The first one is a bendy over one, where you stand like that. Knees just a little bit bend. Shoulders back. Remember, straight back. And that's back into that, like, the Buddha back, right? Conscious what my body is doing. Right? And this one, you bend from there. A little bit of bend to the knees. Right? You take the weights like this in front of you. And you can hold blobs of sand if you want, just to get your hands the idea of holding something while you're doing this. And then you inhale, and on the exhale action, push to the side. And controlled return. It's all about controlled movements instead of like jerky, got it up there with momentum. No, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then when you're first starting out, let you have a little bit of just breathe for a couple times before you go right into the next movement. That was 1A, now 1B. I'm just getting used to the sequence of these. Why is that doing that? Here we go. All right. Okay. Now it stopped.
You got it?
Yeah. 1B is a stand-up one. It's when I go sideways, it's doing that. Let me try sideways this way. Ah, that's better. Okay. Again, shoulders back. Holding the weights this way in front of you, right? But down here. And it's inhale and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I do this. It's just it's not a move really, but I find this pulls out tension if it's built in the muscle through when whatever I was just doing. Where when I break, when I end, I kind of go, and then, and I kind of open and shake it like that just to get the tension from building up in the muscle. So that's number 1. Now number 2, A is, which one is this? That's this one. Actually, no, I should be on number 2. No, I did this one. Yeah. Now I'm over here. I'm on 2A. This is 2A. It's a stand-up one. Hold the weights in front of you like this. And inhale. And the exhale, action. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good. 2B is the sideways one. You start this way. Inhale. Exhale, action. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Haven't done them in a while. 12. Ow. Now with that one, I've noticed a few people, as far as form goes, this was arms straight. You keep the arms straight. I've been watching elbows doing this. That's a different exercise. This was straight. I think of it as eagle wings. That is the action position right there. Yeah, where you're actually like a straight line from hands all the way across through the body to the other side. Right, yeah. Okay, that's better. I was just seeing a few where there's actually an elbow bend and it was coming line like this, and that will move different muscles and you hurt your shoulders that way. So form, paying attention to basic form is good. A lot of these exercises by weird names that I don't even know, you can find in various fitness programs. And, you know, they will give you the written, here, do this first, do that second. We'll get there eventually, but we didn't have time to prepare all the word parts. So we're showing you the form. This should be done. We will put a DVD out eventually on the whole set of them. Notice, even though I'm not doing cardio, when it starts to get fatiguing even a little bit, especially when you're moving through your reps. If you want to make it harder, do every rep slowly. If you want to take twice as long in the program, do every rep slowly. And especially on the downswing of any, when you're coming back, that actually strengthens the muscle even more. But it also takes twice as much time. And if you're trying to do your program in a crunch, you're better off just, doing it quickly. Like if you notice, my counts are quick. But if you go, I hit 4, I got to breathe, just stop. Hit 4, break. Try the next 4 in your set of 12, break if you need to. So you give yourself breaks until you build up where it becomes simple to get all the way through. Don't worry about getting all the way through the entire set of exercises without a break until you can get through an entire set of repetitions of one exercise for each one of them, which means you learn how to get your muscle strong enough where you can do 12 reps of 1A. Even if you break then 12 reps of 1B, then 12 reps of 2A, etc., before you worry about increasing any of the weight capacity or anything. And don't even try to push yourself into, okay, I just did 1A, now I'm going to do 1B, now I'm going to do 2A, now I'm going to do 2C. You should just fatigue yourself to death. And by the time you get halfway through, you won't want to do it anymore. Your body will say, I'm done, right? It's better to get through all of the motions in the program. If you had to shortcut on anything at first until you get stronger, it would be the number of reps, all right? Don't omit exercises, omit reps if you have to until you can build to the full rep count. Because each of the exercises targets specific areas and muscles, and if you leave that exercise out, that particular muscle area is not getting worked. So it's better to, if you have to cut back at first, cut back on the rep, how many reps you do of each exercise, not the entire program. Try to get through, even if it's only 3 reps, of each exercise in the program. That would be better. So now we're on, I need a drink, excuse me. All right. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah, as we're saying, that slow is better, but I find it's like, I'll take my own advice eventually. I'll take that advice too. It is if you have the luxury of time to do the movement slowly with that conscious, my body is what, I am body doing what, right? You'll get more out of it, but it'll also take almost twice as long to do the whole program. This program at a decent pace, once your body's strengthened to where you can do all the moves and just move from one to the other with, say, just a breathing break of 2 or 3 breaths in between each exercise, it shouldn't take no longer than a half an hour, right? But there's a lot of exercises there. So when you get this done, I try to do it for speed as well as for, you can do it the long way, which you get even more result from, but you still get results even doing it with the quicker reps, and you also might get to work in the morning, that kind of thing. So you have to modulate that to your own schedule. Excuse me a second, I'm just going to have a drink here quickly. Put down a minute.
I was coupling my comment.
As is pointing out that with the grace of the guardian, do the slow, conscious movements when you have the luxury of the time to do it. If not, just think guardian form, and yes, I still do have to get to work or wherever I have to get to, so move it in your way. But ideally, these could be done to music as well, where, it's all motion, form. It's like a dance of the arms, right, for these. There's ones when we do the ab works that's like a dance of the entire body. So you can use it as a dance that's like a graceful dance, or you can use it as a dance, got to go to work soon, right? Either way, it will develop the axiotonal meridian lines and the muscles, but you will get more muscle development and a bit more out of it if you do have the luxury of the time. And with that luxury of time, it's slow, controlled movement up, hold, and then controlled movement down. And it's the downswing that the research has indicated, as far as like just science research,